Star Trek's message, and this is how visionary that Gene Roddenberry was. Star Trek's message, according to Gene Roddenberry, I'm going to quote, "We must learn to live together, or most certainly we will soon all die together." Unquote. Quote, "We must learn to live together, or most certainly we will soon all die together." Unquote. And that's the message from Star Trek. That's why you saw this variety of people. That's why if you get the aquaphi.com, I'm going to give you a challenge. Go to aquaphi.com, purchase your novel, The Aqua Phi, read it. If you're not represented in the Aqua Phi, maybe you say, well, I'm African American. You're represented. I'm a woman, you're represented. Well, I'm Norwegian, you're represented. Well, I'm Asian, you're represented. If anybody can read this visionary work, The Aqua Phi, visionary for underwater sci-fi, the same as Gene Roddenberry is for space, and you find that you're not represented, nobody will. Everybody is represented because we must all learn to live together. So everybody's well represented in this novel. Everyone. No one's left out. Take the challenge. Get your copy, read the book, and you will be represented. In the meantime, while you're on YouTube, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Like, everywhere you go, like YouTube, like Facebook. Follow, subscribe, get your novel, get the gear. I'm going to tell you why you should get the gear. In Gene Roddenberry dies in 1991. In Star Trek, there's iconic phrases that comes from Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty. Live long and prosper. But I'm adding on to it, live longer and prosper more. You heard it here first on the Aqua Phi, the ESPN of sci-fi. Space, the final frontier. No. Underwater. And we have a podcast where we're going to talk about why it's harder to live just going 200 feet underwater. And we're talking about breathing and the pressure, and it's harder to live underwater than it is now in space. Why? Yes. And we're going to talk about that in one of the upcoming podcasts. So follow, subscribe so that you don't miss a podcast. It's harder to live underwater, even just going 200 feet, than it is to live in outer space. And you'll see why. The Aqua Phi opening up the way for sea travel. And that's why I'm saying to you, purchase Aqua Phi, get the gear. When you go to the aquaphi.com, under merchandise, you'll see all the artwork. You find one you like, go in there. In Redbubble, purchase the gear. Safe as Amazon Kindle. Comes to you just as quickly. Got your t-shirt on. Get your Aqua Phi cover for your cell phone. So much gear in there. Take a look at all the gear that you can get. Because with all this merchandise from the Aqua Phi, we're building what Star Trek builds. Some other iconic phrases. Boldly go where no man has gone before. Well, yeah, before the 1960s. But now, the Aqua Phi is boldly going where nobody's been. Nobody has been. Read it, right? When they enter that vortex, come into our world, they go back in this other world of underwater. Nobody's been there before. And I can describe to you what they see and the things there are in this other world, but read it for yourself. It's not in space. It's underwater. That's going where nobody has ever been before. So purchase your copy of the Aqua Phi. Aqua Phi is going undersea adventure where no one. And so we're building this great legacy in the Aqua Phi, the same as Star Wars, because I'm the Gene Roddenberry of underwater sci-fi. So here's what the Aqua Phi will do with your help. And that's why every time I'm saying, get the book, get the gear, follow, subscribe, because this is what the Aqua Phi will accomplish with your help, with you doing all those things. From Star Trek came 9 spin-off TV series, an animated series, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. From Star Trek comes Trekkies, fans of Star Trek, games from Star Trek, toys from Star Trek, comics from Star Trek, a theme park in Las Vegas that ran from 1998 to 2008. Star Trek had its own theme park that ran for 10 years in Las Vegas. Museum exhibits. You know how much revenue Star Trek brings? I'll tell you, 10.6 billion in revenue. And this is what you're going to help the Aqua Phi accomplish, all these things. And that's why you're hearing me say, get the gear. See your favorite poster, get that, right? Get the book, follow, subscribe. All these things is what the Aqua Phi is here to do. Aqua Phi will accomplish all of those with your assistance, with your help, with you following through. We're going in the Aqua Phi into unheard of sea adventures. So without doubt, Star Trek has influenced George Lucas. George Lucas said, and I quote, Star Trek softened up the entertainment arena so that Star Wars could come along and stand on its shoulder. Unquote. A definite influence on George Lucas. What does the near future hold? I'm not talking about a far distant future and far distant sci-fi things, just near realistic reality. What's coming up in the near future? I'm going to look at that in the next podcast.